Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here today. Oops, I don't want to walk directly into that one. My name is Marni Spencer-Devlin. My company is Passion for Profit. Now, you are all HR executives, right? Or professionals. Am I correct on that? Yes? Awesome. So you are painfully aware of the high costs of employee disengagement. So there's missed sales opportunities because disengaged employees just can't think on their feet like they should. There's lost clients because of bad customer service. There's bad customer experience and the bad reputation that results from for the company as a result of it. And then there's certainly no new business that's coming in from disengaged employees, right? There's increased operating expenses. You know all about that because what is absenteeism? What's sick pay? But the company paying out something that they didn't get anything for. That's losing money. Conflicts disrupt performance, surely. And then there's the mistakes that are being made. Then there's the errors, the omissions because people weren't paying attention. There's the cost of firing, the costs of rehiring, the costs of training again. And there's the potential lawsuits that come from disgruntled employees like that. Then there's attorney's costs. Maybe there's fines. Or you just pay the judge because it's just easier than going to court. Right? I'm sure you guys have all faced stuff like that. I know I have in my company. Then there's simply the human cost. Population health is declining due to extreme stress. We know what stress can do to the body. There's depression, there's anxiety, and then there's simply the chance of the lost chance of meaningful employment, and that's sad. So let's see here. But see, disengagement, there's always a reason for it. There's always a reason why employees are disengaged. Many times it's simply overwhelmed. They simply have so much to do between home and the kids and everything that's on their plate. They're just overwhelmed. So it's not that they don't want to do a good job, they're just simply overwhelmed. The other thing is that feeling that no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work, no matter what you contribute, nobody will care anyway. Nobody will appreciate you anyway. And then you get sort of that defense mechanism, that sort of a sour grape sling. It's like, well, I don't even care anyway. So that's sort of what disengagement really is, right? But what if there were a way to go from this feeling of overwhelm and from this feeling of undervalue to being passionate and thriving at work? Would you guys want to know more about that? Yes? Awesome. Great. So let's get started. So who knows this feeling? Also called a case of the Mondays. Place when you just don't want to be there, you're not feeling good, you have no energy, you're not feeling all that great. So would you say this person is engaged or disengaged? Disengaged, right, certainly. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that anything that I can tell you today is going to make sure that you never have another bad day in your life. That's not going to happen. But what I can give you is 3 repeatable steps that can make you go from being overwhelmed, undervalued, disengaged, not feeling very good, to feeling as good as that woman does in that picture. To feeling passionate and brilliant and energized and really loving your job. Wouldn't that be awesome? There are 3 steps, and I'm going to share those with you today. So the 3 steps are understanding the problem, knowing what you don't want, and then finding your passion. So let's get started. Let's talk about, in order to understand the problem, let's talk about some of the reasons that people might be feeling this awful puppy way. So really just overwhelmed. Just having a to-do list that's just so overwhelming when you just really feel like there's nothing I can do. I'm not going to get it all done. There's just nothing I can do. Anybody ever felt that way? I know I have. Yeah, all right. So when you feel that way, you get anxious. You get that tight feeling in your chest. Anybody know what that's like? Yes? You get this feeling that something bad's going to happen, doomsday. You don't know what, but something bad's going to happen. Or maybe you really do feel it doesn't matter what you do, you are unappreciated anyway. It doesn't matter how hard you work. Nobody's going to care anyway what you contribute to that one. And that's going to make you depressed. And when you're depressed, you don't see the good stuff that's happening anymore either. All you see is the bad stuff. That's sort of the definition for depression. When maybe there's conflict. Maybe there's conflict at home, or maybe there's an underhanded coworker, or there's a gossipy coworker, and there's conflict from that, and that's going to make you angry. So you're walking around this ball of anger all the time, and I don't know if I'm one of those people that if I'm in an argument with somebody, it's like 3 hours later, I'm going to think of all the things that I should have said to that person. So I'm walking around and going, oh, I should have. You guys know what I'm talking about? Maybe you guys are the quick people that say it right away. I'm not. Maybe there is trouble at home. I mean, if there's trouble at home, maybe the school called and said, oh, the kids are in trouble again. That's going to make you cause you to not pay attention at work, right? I mean, that's one of the things that could cause that. Maybe you just can't face one more day. Maybe people are so overwhelmed that they really, really need a vacation, but there's just no vacation in sight anywhere. So that could cause you to feel that way, right? It could be another one of those things. Or maybe there's health issues. Maybe it's already at a point where the body's actually breaking down. Stress can certainly do that to the body. So that could be another reason why a person would be feeling this awful when they're sitting at their desk, right? Well, I have to tell you something that's probably going to shock you, because none of these are actually the real reason why people feel this awful. Those are just the outside reasons. I want to share a story with you today. Is it okay if I share a story with you that's a little bit personal? So I'm your first speaker here today, and the reason I'm your first speaker is that the folks at HR Summit are working with me a little bit, because I'm a little bit weak on my feet. Because you see, 2 weeks ago, my heart gave out. They had to put a pacemaker into me to keep my heart beating. So you could say I have a broken heart. If my heart had just gotten really, really tired, it was beating like 25 beats a minute, 18 beats a minute. And then it would get this sudden surge of energy, and it would go 160 beats a minute, 278 beats a minute. And then it'd be totally worn out, and it would just stop. Stop. The longest it stopped was 11 seconds. And the thing is, I think I know why I have a broken heart. I think I know why this happened to me. See, the person who by profession speaks about passion, speaks about the importance of passion, the importance of living your passion, had given up on mine. I had had these big dreams of how I was going to show millions of people their passion and their purpose on this earth. But it got hard. And it took longer than I wanted it to. And so instead of redoubling my efforts, I just kind of gave up. And I thought, why not just happy with the life that I have? I mean, that doesn't seem like a bad thing, right? To be grateful for what you got. But you see that, so it got to the point where I got tired. And I thought, well, I'm 60 years old, maybe I should be tired. And I got achy all over. And I thought, well, maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. But with every achy, I got more and more tired. And pretty soon, all I really wanted to do was lay on the couch and watch TV. I would dream of those days when I could just watch TV, binge watch TV all day long. But if I did get a day like that, it didn't make me feel really good. Because see, that passion that's inside of me, that was inside of me, that passion that's inside of each and every one of you, that life that's keeping your heart beating, that's causing you to take a breath, that purpose that's inside of you, that's in every one of you, doesn't go away. You can pretend it's not there. You can maybe ignore it, but you cannot block nature. Those of you who have a driveway, who have a house with a driveway, know you can't block nature. You cannot stop the weeds coming up. And the thing is, it seems really crazy that a little tiny grass seed or a weed seed should be possible to break through cement. But you know, it does. It does all the time. You cannot stop nature. And if you try and stop the nature inside of you, it will tear you up. And maybe you'll end up with cancer. Or maybe you'll end up with a broken heart. Those are the most common diseases in America, and every disease starts when you are stopping the flow of energy. That's what starts disease. But when you see a person that's passionate, their eyes are sparkling, they are lit up like a Christmas tree. And when people live their passion and focus on their passions, nothing stops them. People like that don't want to sit on the couch. They don't want to watch TV. People like Nelson Mandela, there's a man who focused on his passion and remained focused on his passion for 27 years. He was in prison in a tiny little cell, but he remained focused on his passion. And when he got out of prison, he went straight to being the president of his country. That's what passion does for you. I actually have to share with you, I had the opportunity to meet Nelson Mandela. Oh my God, it was one of the biggest moments of my life. That man was so big, and he was 92 years old when I got to meet him, but you could feel the passion emanating from him. Gandhi, funny little guy, but he said, be the change you want to see in the world. He remained focused on his passions, and he changed an empire. And then our own Steve Jobs, stay hungry, stay foolish. There is no work-life balance when you are living your passion, when you're on fire. But when you block your power, when you block that passion inside of you, when you make yourself smaller than you really are, that's when you feel overwhelmed. And when you make yourself smaller than everything else, you become anxious, you become scared. When you feel unappreciated and undervalued, what you're really feeling is your soul inside of you crying out, hear me, see me. When you depress the things you love, you get depressed. That's not just a play on words. That's the reality of it. When you're in conflict with others, what you're feeling is the conflict within your own self. But those things don't show. So when you're feeling these things, you look for outside reasons. And you go, well, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, must be the to-do list, must be the job. There's something wrong with my job. I have too much to do. If you're feeling underappreciated and undervalued, must be the husband, must be the boss, must be somebody. And if you're feeling depressed, there must be something wrong with you, so you got to take a couple of pills. So you're looking at all these outside reasons, but because those things don't show on the outside. In my book, The Iceberg Principles, which, by the way, I have a couple copies outside for you. They're $20 here. They're a lot more than that on Amazon, and here you get an autographed copy. So what I talk about is I compare human beings to icebergs. Now, if you've seen an iceberg, or no, you don't have any ice in your waters, you know that ice only swims on the surface. Very, very little of it shows on the surface. Only 4% show on the surface. 96% of it is submerged underwater and doesn't show, as the Titanic found out. And it's the same thing for human beings. What's sitting there in your chair right now, that's your surface level. That's your 4%. And it tells me, it describes you. It tells me your hair color, your eye color, your skin color. Maybe it tells me whether you're athletic or not. But what it doesn't tell me is what you're talented in, what you're gifted in, what you're passionate about, what your purpose is. All those things are invisible, but they are what define you. They are your 96%. They are who you really are. So there's much more to you than you appear to be. This stuff is real. That's not just motivational rah-rah. So step one, understanding the problem is that whenever you feel down like that, it's because you're not standing in your power. It's because you made yourself smaller than you really are. Because you bought into the lie that your life is about going to work, doing your job, going home, working some more, going to sleep, and doing it all over again tomorrow. That is not what your purpose is on this earth, I guarantee you. So this I have as a card printed up for you. I have it out there by my table. It's yours for the taking. I want you to take this. I want you to put it in a frame. I want you to put it on your desk because I want you to consider the fact that you exist. I know you take it for granted. I know there you are with yourself. You take it for granted. But the fact is you exist. And how did that happen? It's not your parents didn't do it. They don't know how to create a human being. They just allowed you passage. But here you're sitting with 75 trillion cells all working together in perfect harmony to give you this biomechanical wonder that you call a body. That kind of stuff doesn't happen by accident. You didn't just come together in a pink puff of smoke. There's cause behind you. There's an intelligence behind you that caused you to be here. And also considering that out of almost 8 billion people, there's not another one like you. There's not another one like you. Nobody has exactly your gifts, your talents, your mix of, nobody wants what you want. And that's pretty significant as well. So nobody's like you. So that means that you are in fact necessary. Because nature has never made a meaningless act. Everything that exists is part of a bigger picture, a finely tuned ecosystem that you belong to. So you are here, if you exist, you are necessary. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So now you understand the problem, but you still don't really know what it is you want. And the funny thing is, here's a hint. Most people don't have what they want because they don't really know what they want. They've never taken the time to figure out what they want. And how can you ever get what you want if you never thought about what you wanted? Even if you just go into a restaurant and you're looking at, you don't want to look at the menu. You say, yeah, just bring me anything. And then you have it in front of you and you go, oh, I didn't want that. Well, you didn't bother to look. You didn't bother to look at the menu, what was available to you, so you got what they put in front of you. So I professionally ask people all the time, what are you passionate about? What do you love? People can't tell me. So I come at it from another way. And that is, what do you not want? What's wrong with your life? What do you not like? What do you hate? And I get an earful. Because we're all like that. We can all tell you all day long what's wrong and what we don't like. But we don't know so well what we want. But I say, that's okay. We can work with that. So the next time you're sitting at your desk and you're feeling like that, pull out a piece of paper and write down what it is you don't want right now. I guarantee you it'll come pouring out of you. You'll know exactly what you don't want. Write it down. You hate being broke? Write it down. Want more respect? Write it down. Do you hate being in a little cubicle? Write that down. Do you want the opposite? Would you like maybe rather have more privacy? Write that down. Whatever it is for you, write that down. Because you know what? It's inside of you anyway. Because everything has two sides. Everything has a problem and a solution. And you're either focusing on the problem or you're focusing on the solution. So if you're feeling like crap, what do you think you're focusing on? Problem or solution? Problem, exactly. But what you're focusing on is what you find. What you focus on is what grows. So if you're sitting there and you're talking about you hate being broke, well, you keep focusing on not having more money, but you keep focusing on all the things you don't have, that's what you're going to get more of. What you focus on seems real, and what you focus on, you become. So you really, really want to know what the things are that you're thinking about and what are the things that you don't want, because it really brings you some clarity. So now you're knowing what you don't want. So now you can go towards finding your passion. So let me ask you a question. If you are here in this earth for a reason and you have a purpose, then how can it be that you don't know what that is? I mean, if it's built in, how can it be that we don't know what this is? It's because you're not really listening. Because from early on as a child, we kind of get it pushed down. Can I have some ice cream? No. Can I go play? No. Do your homework. I mean, it's just so many no's pile up over the years that we sort of get used to not just always pushing it down, never really listening for it at all. And then you sort of become dulled to that. Your ears are no longer honed to it. Has anybody ever said to you, hey, did you hear that? And you go, no, don't hear anything. It's like, no, listen. And you go, oh yeah, now I hear it. Because your ears suddenly became honed to it. And now suddenly you can't not hear it, whatever it was. So it's sort of like that. So remember, you are necessary. You definitely do have a point here. Have you ever realized that you're necessary to the unfolding of the universe? Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You're a pretty big deal. So maybe you can't find your passion because you're looking too small. Could that be? Maybe you're like that acorn that's meant to become this mighty oak tree. If you're looking at an acorn, it's really hard to imagine that that's supposed to be this mighty, massive tree. And where's that tree anyway when you're looking at the acorn? It's not like you plant the tree and somebody comes along really quick and injects an oak tree into it. No, it's already in there. Where is it? It's It's in the 96%. It's in the intangible, but it's definitely there. That's not motivational stuff, that's biology. And the same is true for you as well. I actually brought some acorns. They're over at my table. I want you to come and take one. I want you to take one. I want you to put it, mount it somewhere, put it on your desk, and remind yourself so you remember your future. So you remember what is within you, what is your oak tree. See, everything is made for something. There's racehorses. Racehorses are born to be racehorses. They have the muscles for it. They have the competitive spirit. They want to run. They just want to do that. And then there's plow horses. They're really, really strong, and they want to be slow, and they want to take it step by step by step. But if you put a racehorse in front of a plow, something's going to break. Because things break when they're not used to according to their purpose. But we do it to people all the time. And they break too. But see, you have your list of things that you don't want. And the funny thing is that whatever it is that you will have on your list, the things that you actually want will most of the time be the exact opposite of what it is that you didn't want. Since that's the reason you're missing it. You're supposed to be having it in the first place. So that's why it's a really clear picture of what you're actually supposed to be having. Because you're missing it. It's showing up for you because you're supposed to be having it. Because whatever you feel is a desire within you, that's the call of your soul. Listen to it, heed it. That's from your heart. But when you discover your passion and your purpose fell off, when you discover your passion and your purpose, you set free energies and creativity that you didn't even know you had. It really sets you on fire. You actually get more energy from it than you had before, so you're no longer tired. It really fires you up. And when you take it a step further and you also ask yourself why you are passionate about these things, that's when you become unstoppable. When you have your why, when you know your why, nothing can ever stop you again. So now you're understanding the problem. When you're feeling really crappy, it means you are not standing in your power. It's not any of the outside reasons that you could be pointing at. You're not standing in your power. But you can make your list of what you don't want, and you can reverse it to find your passion. So what I've explained to you today, I've showed you a little tiny portion of training that Passion for Profit does in management coaching and in employee training. So you see, we don't come at it from strategies or manipulations. We come at it from authenticity. It's much more powerful. It doesn't take months or years to get this in. It takes a few hours. And then what makes us different is that we come in, we get everybody fired up, and then we keep it going. We have ongoing weekly contact. Everybody that's ever worked with us has ongoing private online community. It's a community forum. Everybody meets. They can talk to each other. They can air their gripes. They can ask questions. Plus, they get ongoing coaching according to a 5-point success path. If they miss the call, they can go to the website. They can listen to it there. So it's ongoing training that's part of it to keep the passion going for everybody. Because if you're not passionate about your business, your customers won't be. And if your customers aren't passionate about your business, you won't be in business much longer. Steve Jobs said that the only way to do good work is to love what you do. And that's exactly what you get with Passion for Profit. Thanks so much. Last picture didn't show up. So. I guess nobody's going to pick me up, so I will get you the next person.